even though places like London, Sheffield, Southampton, Coventry took a heck of a pounding from the nighttime and daytime bombing by the Luftwaffe, Poole especially had its own specific areas of interest for the bombers, and some of the main targets were the Telecommunications Research Establishment, otherwise known as TRE, and this from the late 1939 for the next 2 to 3 years became the crucial hub of radar research in the whole of the country. And yet it was only a tiny village called Worth Matravers, that's about 3 miles from Poole. There was about 150 people lived in Worth Matravers at this point. By the time that all the technicians and important research personnel that's researching into radar, etc., and the development, there were over 2,000 members of the teams. It became a really important target because obviously with radar gaining real importance for the defence of Britain, knocking the radar research teams out was extremely important. Going along with that in mind, the bombers also tried to bomb the radar sites, and there were about 21 of these dotted along the south coast and up towards the east coast. The only thing was that most of them, even though they were attacked, were back in operation usually within a few days. Another important target was the Royal Navy Cordite Factory, RNCF, about 3 miles away from Worth Matravers and Poole, at a little village called Halton Heath. And the importance of the cordite factory was that cordite is the main propellant of that gets put into the shells for the Royal Navy, and without that the Royal Navy would have been useless, it would have been defunct. Also in the Poole Harbour area, the seaplane service came under a beating because Sunderland seaplanes, a majestic sight along sandbanks and Poole Harbour, they developed, with the development of radar, they were actually able to go out and search for submarines, and had a huge range in their fuel tanks, so they could go out into the Atlantic, search for the U-boats and hopefully destroy them. The coming of the Sunderlands was a big dent in the arsenal of the German U-boat service. The Sunderlands also, the Sunderlands also became extremely important for ferrying people like Winston Churchill and important members of government across the Atlantic to America, because it was one of the few planes that could get that distance, without having to hop along at dropping off in various places. One of the very little known other targets closely related to the cordite factory at Halton Heath was ironically called the Glamour Express, and this was an express train of workers. 1,000 females were transported from Bournemouth, Poole and the New Forest up towards the remote area station of Halton Heath, and they packed the cordite for use in the naval shells, etc. A special station had been built at Halton Heath specifically for the workers. Again,